welcome back. I'm so glad you're here. I am Coach Julia, and today we are continuing on learning Choctaws. So this is the second in my string of tutorials about these. I will post the one I already did in the description down below, and in the future I will grab the other ones and tag them down below as well. But today we're going to be doing backward outside edge Choctaws. So Choctaws, just a reminder, are going to turn from backwards to forwards, switch feet. They're also going to switch edge and switch circles. You might have heard these called S steps. They're called S steps in some parts of the world, and you might hear them called open or closed. There's also a number of different dance terms that people use to describe Choctaws or S steps when they're being done in ice dance, like a rumba Choctaw or a rumba S step, okay? So you'll hear a number of different terms regarding Choctaws or S steps. Just so you know, these are a cousin of Mohawks. Mohawks stay on the same circle though, and they stay on the same edge, so they are a little bit easier. So today, again, backward, outside edge Choctaws or S steps. That means we're going to end on our forward, inside edge on a different circle. Let me show you what this looks like. So I'm going to start with a bit of a swizzle or pump to give myself some power. But we're going to start on our left, sorry, forgot my right and left for a moment. Left, backward outside edge. So I'm going to be pushing with my right foot to give myself that power, and then I'm going to look outside the circle. So you can also do these from crossovers, whatever you'd like to give yourself some power. But then we're going to step onto our outside edge and face away from the circle. Now, there are closed Choctaws and open Choctaws. We're going to do an open Choctaw first, which means I'm going to step, I'm going to step to the front, okay? And since I'm going from my outside edge, I'm going to step to the front onto my inside edge. So in the middle, you have to have some good flexibility. So if you've ever taken a ballet class, you can think of this like a plie in the middle, but otherwise you really want to work on having some flexibility in your hips. To get into that step, we are going to put our weight on our outside edge, so press right through the middle of your foot, not up by your toe and certainly not back by your heel. Think about putting the center of mass. That means where you have the most weight, okay? The center of your body through the center of your blade. And then we're gonna bend, so we're really working those quads, okay? You're gonna lean, and since we're leaning to the outside, those quads on the outside of your leg are going to be activated. And then you want to think about having your shoulders on the same line as your blade. So we're not facing our toe pick, okay? That's going to be too cut off. We're not going to be able to step forward. We want to have our shoulders facing the blade. Now, before you step any Choctaw, you're going to rotate your upper body first. So I'm here, and I'm somewhat facing my right hand, okay? So I'm really open, and I'm facing that right hand. Before I step, I'm actually going to rotate and face my left hand, okay? So I'm doing a little shift, a little check in the shoulders before we step. Any S step or Choctaw, you want to check your shoulders before you step. So you're here, you're gliding, gliding, gliding. Now you want to turn, you want to take your step, so we're going to start shifting, and your foot's going to reach out in front and place on our inside edge. So you're going to step it just out far enough that you can get to that inside edge. It's easier if your feet are a little bit close. You don't want them to clip each other. If you step out here, you almost are guaranteeing that you're going to an outside edge, so it'll be an outside Mohawk, outside to outside. So we want to step close so that we can get to that inside edge. So we're outside here, outside on our left, inside on our right. That is so awkward. The exit position on this is going to be optional. So you are stepping forward. So we've gone outside, we're stepping forward, and you can either close it or open it, just depending on what feels more comfortable to you. Let's try one from the very beginning. So I'm going to give myself a little push, open up, and then I'm going to step to the inside. Again, make sure you're rotating your upper body first. Make sure you give yourself a little extra knee bend right in the middle so you can get onto those correct edges. And whichever checkout you choose to do, whether it is closed or open. You want to be rock solid. You want to be your weight through the center of your foot, and you want to be strong in your core so that you can hold that exit without any little wobbles in there. So once again, this is going to be an open Choctaw because we are stepping in front. Okay, so we're going back outside, stepping in front into that open Choctaw. It's not used a ton. Usually the closed Choctaw is used more, and I'll show you that in just a second. Let's move on to that closed Choctaw. So we're going to be starting with a left, backward, outside, closed Choctaw, which just means we're stepping to the back. Now the ending position is going to be a little bit different. So anytime you're doing a closed Choctaw, the ending is usually different than an open Choctaw. Okay, so we're going to start the same way with that back outside edge facing away from our circle. So we're facing away from our circle. My foot's going to come to the back now. So instead of stepping to the front, so we have that awkward step out, we're going to step to the back. So I'm on my outside edge here, so I'm leaning towards my little toe. I'm down in those quads, just like we talked about. We have that strong upper body with our back facing our circle. Okay, but instead of stepping forward, we're stepping backward. Now, since I'm coming from an outside edge, to make it a Choctaw, not a Mohawk, I need to step onto an inside edge. So my little ballet position is going to be very awkward again. So we have an outside edge with the front foot and an inside edge with the back foot. With most Choctaws, I like to think about stepping into a triangle. Okay, so whether it's going forwards or backwards, you can think about a little bit of a triangle happening. Since we're switching edges, our feet are not going to be parallel, so we can create that triangle position. Our front, the skate we've been on, which right now is our left, will be on an outside edge, so our heel is coming in, but now the right is on a inside edge, so the toe is going in. So we end up with our heel and our toes slightly facing each other. Now, if you were just to glide this way, your feet would hit each other, so we do have to make the switch. But if you think about your feet hitting a triangle position every time you take a step in a Choctaw or S step, it's going to be a little bit easier for you to get the correct edges. So the other thing we want to think about is the pressure in our shoulder, or which one's leading, which ones we're focused on. There's a lot of different ways of thinking about that. So in our beginning position, our pressure or our focus should be on our leading shoulder. So in this case, it's the right shoulder. So my right hand's out and my focus is pressing into my right shoulder. Just before I step, I want to press into my left shoulder. So I'm not fully rotating my shoulders. I'm not fully twisting my spine on this one, but I have pressure in my right, and that pressure switches to the left, and that helps me keep control, helps me stay in a nice, strong, checked position. So I'm gliding, pressure in my right. I want to step. I want to make my Choctaw happen. So I'm going to switch my pressure to my left and then step. Okay, so think right, switch to the left, then make the Choctaw happen. All right, let's do one all together. So we've talked about the feet, we've talked about the edges, we've talked about where to step, the angle of our feet, the pressure in our shoulders. We got to put it all together and make a final product. So pressure in the right, step behind, pressure into the left. Now our ending position is going to be here. So we have pressure now through our right leg. Again, that center of mass going through the center of our right inside edge because we're switching edges. I'm going to have my feet closed, so my knees are nice and close together, my thighs are close together. My left leg is now pointed out, turned out in front of me, staying as close as it can to the same line that my skating leg is on. My upper body is facing my left hip with all of my pressure in my left shoulder. And there is your ending position for a backward, outside, closed Choctaw. All right, one last time, all together. Push, open those arms, check, step the feet, and you're gonna hold that nice forward checkout position. Now, with any footwork, you need to practice both your dominant side and your non-dominant side, right foot, left foot, clockwise, counterclockwise. So I gave you a lot of instruction on the other side. We are going to do these, although we're just going to run through them really quick so you can see what they look like. So we're going to start with our now right back outside, and it's going to be an open. That means we're going to step in front. So right back outside, open, Choctaw or S-step. We're going to give ourselves a little push. I'm going to be facing my left shoulder, okay? So my pressure is in my left. I'm going to switch just before I step to my pressure being in my right. So I'm just reversing everything. I'm going to be on my outside edge with my right foot. That means I'm going to step onto my inside edge with my left. And then I'm going to check into a nice forward check position. And what that means is we're going to be down nice and centered through our left foot. We have our arms with our shoulders parallel with our blade, and your leg can either be extended for the check or tucked in for the check. All right, so this is going to be our exit position. Let's try that all together again. And we're going to do that closed, which means we're stepping in back, which is usually my preferred Choctaw when we're doing a backward outside. I don't know, I just really feel more comfortable with a step behind. You may find it's different for you, but you want to learn all of them anyway, right? We want to do the things we like and the things that are a little bit more of a challenge because we want to be a well-rounded skater. Okay, so we're going to push. That foot's going to go behind us now, and we're going to step into our forward closed position. So same thing as we talked about on the other side, just really quick. We're going to be facing with our pressure is going to start on our left shoulder, and then we're going to switch it to the right just before we step. So we're going press, press. Okay, my foot's going to come behind. So I'm pressed towards the left just before I step. I'm going to press towards my right. Okay, so again, we check our upper body before we step our feet. It might look like it's simultaneous as you're watching it, but it does happen at the top and then move down to the bottom. Okay, so we're here, pressure in that left. Just before I move my feet, I'm going to put my pressure in my right. I'm going to step and hold that nice check position. All right, one more time, all together. Check and check. All right, skaters, I hope you found that Choctaw tutorial helpful, informative. Choctaws are a tricky turn, so be patient with yourself as you learn these. And think about doing some stretching off ice to help with that flexibility in your hips. That hip flexibility is going to really help you get this more quickly. All right, if you enjoyed this video, please do give us that thumbs up. And as always, I look forward to reading all your comments in that section down below. I'd love to connect with you on social media. I'm Skating Coach Julia, so you can find me there and tag me in your videos so I can check out your progress. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can see all my videos when they come out. Happy skating, and I'll see you next time.